5 minutes or less. How are you guys doing? It's been a long time since I've been on here, quite a while since I actually made a video. I've been distracted. I have been consumed with what work is going on there. I've got another side project, business deal. I'm building a couple different things for friends, just woodworking projects, and I've been watching Ted Lasso. So if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, you should do yourself a favor and check it out. Ted Lasso is the fun story, it's on Apple TV by the way, of a guy named Ted Lasso who comes from Wichita State, travels over to a British football club, and he's put in charge at Wichita State. Previously, he was a U.S. football coach. There's a divorce, a whole bunch of messy stuff. But suffice to say that Ted Lasso is put into a scenario where the goal is for him to fail, and he does everything but that. Ted is, I think, a tragic figure in the way that things are beginning to play out, but ultimately he begins to reveal to people who they are within the context of the team and what the needs of the team are. I choke up all the time watching it just because I'm thinking about, like, what do I do, right? For those of you that don't know, I coach in the United States. I coach athletics, as you'd say in Europe, but here we say track and field. And my teams are always made up of really varied characters. And just like in Ted Lasso, I'm always trying to figure out who is the leader of the group and how do we get them to exhibit the characteristics that we want the rest of our team to exhibit. A lot of times, specifically in the last couple of years, it ends up the person who is more of either the cultural leader, figurative or real, is not who I would imagine it is. You know, in the same way, any group that you work in is different every single year. You know how it is, you get new people on in your hiring process. For example, if you're a member of a team, there are one-year iterations or seasons that you may find yourself working yourself through. Every group works through the same process every single time. There is the formation of the group, where you learn who's in your group. There is, we call that forming. Then there's the storming period, where people are starting to acclimate to one another, figure out who each other are. As coaches or as administrators or managers, that's one of the most difficult tasks, is really to peel back the layers of the onion of people and figure out, A, what motivates them, what's important to them, how does their character or their characteristics fit into that of the team. And so a lot of that time, I know a lot of people think management just means pushing paperwork, but at the same time, I'm a manager, just like that of a baseball team, but I'm trying to figure out, I got my group, I'm forming it. That group then begins the storming process, where they're figuring out where they fit into the group. And then there's the norming process. And no group, skips any of those. You may have a different timeline, how quickly you go through things, but in reality, there is the forming, storming, and norming part of that process that really ends up determining, how cohesive your team is going to be. Some of you have got one season to work together. You may bring in someone like Tom Brady for one season to see what he can do. Maybe 2 seasons, 3 seasons, who knows? Maybe he'll play till he's 50. Or you may be a franchise where you've got one person. Okay, it could be in your office. It could be in your friend group. Any of those things. You've got to remember that it doesn't matter what group you're in. If there's anything social about the group, there's going to be a forming, storming, and norming group. And think about any time that you add a new person to your friend group, what does it do to things, okay? That's that storming part. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has made you think a little bit. I'm going to try to get back on here a little bit more frequently, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the future.